Hey, welcome back. I want to talk about the writing process for me. Now, I sat down about, wow, 10, it was probably more like 15 years ago, one summer, and I kind of sent my kids out the door and I said, "You guys play, play, play. I've got stuff to do." And they were like, "What are you going to do, Mom?" I said, "I'm going to attempt to write a book." They all laughed at me, and that was fine. So I sat down for most of the summer and I pumped out 3 books. Now, they were horrible. I mean, one was 750 pages, for heaven's sakes. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I don't think you do when you first start. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. But, I had to be like, they walked across the room, they went here, they went there. You've got to give your reader some intelligence that they know that the person got up, walked across the room, probably has a bathroom break every so often. My first book, I felt like I needed to include all those things. You don't need to include all those things. So it was not very good. I'll give you that. It was not very good. And then the next one I wrote was a shorter romance, maybe 250 pages, 300 pages if it got printed. And I like that one better because I learned a lot from it. And then I wrote a couple of short stories. And then my third one, it wasn't very good. Needs a lot of work. I don't know what happened to them though. We have so many of those little disk drives or little, thumb drives, and we had an external hard drive which crashed. So they could all be contained in any of those places. Probably the external hard drive got crashed. But the writing process for me, I try to make a very broad, very broad, very broad outline because I find that the outline doesn't do me any good. I start writing and I start going, okay, this is my outline. Let's see how I'm going to cover this. And then it kind of just goes off the rails. It just kind of does its own thing. Now, I know I've only done this 7 times, but when I'm about 12,000 words to 15,000 words, even to 20,000 words in my book, I start thinking, oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is awful. What am I thinking? I just need to stop. I need to stop. This is awful. But then I remind myself, this is how it's gone every time. 7 times now you have said, I got to stop. This is awful. And you just kept going. Trust the process. So I trust the process and I keep going until I get to the end. Now it gets to the point that I don't want to do anything else but write. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't even want to eat. That's been a problem because when I don't eat, I get sick. So I was like, I don't even want to stop to eat. I just want to write. My last book took me just writing it, not editing it, not going through and fixing all the sentences that were that were in the wrong order. The words were in the wrong order because my fingers were typing too fast. That took me 7 days, and it's about a 65,000 word mystery romance. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but then I think, I'm writing a lot. I'm writing, 8 to 10 hours a day sometimes because I get into I'm like, I gotta get to the end. I gotta get to the end. And I knew where I wanted this last book to go, like I've known with the other ones, not necessarily knew the ending, but I kind of knew the direction I wanted to take them. And, but I'm writing this one and I'm like, okay, she is going to take the keys. She's going to put them on the table. They're going to go to bed and then she's going to wake up and she's going to steal away in the night and drive the car away and leave him. You'd have to read it, of course, to know what I'm talking about. But she's going to leave him. So the car keys should be on the table when she comes down the stairs with the bag that she's going to take off on. When she gets down there, all of a sudden I'm like, no, the car keys aren't on the table. Where are the car keys? So she's looking around for the car keys. And in my brain, I'm going, the car keys are supposed to be on the table, but they're not on the table. And where are the car keys? So I'm like, oh my gosh, where are the car keys? And then I start writing and the light goes on. And he's standing at the top of the stairs. Are you looking for these? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what happens next? So they may be awful books. I don't know. I really like them, but I'm very biased. But they kind of write themselves. They literally write themselves. So all of a sudden I'm like, he's standing at the top of the stairs holding the keys. What's going to happen next? And I just keep going. I just keep writing and writing until I get to a point where I'm like, I'm stuck. What's going to happen next? These characters, I have a little backstory for each of them, and I don't start at the very beginning. So I kind of had to make a backstory so that I could start in a point where it would be most interesting than, oh, here we go. We'll just introduce these characters. No, and more interesting points. So when you start reading, you're like, okay, I want to read this book. So, but yeah, my book just kind of writes itself. I love reading. For many years, we made a goal, my husband and I both made a goal of reading over 100 books a year. I think I'm only at 42 maybe this year. But I have written 7 books, so it's hard to read that many and write too. But we love to read. And so the writing process for me is like just reading really slowly because I clip along on my typing. I'm probably 70, 80, maybe longer. Higher words per minute. I do make a lot of mistakes though, so I got to go back and then go forward. But I type pretty fast. Being a teacher, and especially a special ed teacher, we wrote so many documents. 25-page IEPs and 50-page evaluations. You have to know how to type in order to be able to do that. So I'm pretty fast typing. Not that I don't make mistakes. My buys become my's, and my my's become buys, and things get mixed up a lot. The words get in the wrong order. But while I'm writing, it's like the whole thing is just opening up like a movie in my head. And so even though it takes me a week to write the book, where it would have taken me, 8 hours to read it, probably more like 6 hours to read it. I'm taking a lot more time writing it, but it's a very enjoyable process. So I'm enjoying writing. They are at editors. My 3 favorite right now out of the 7 are at an editor, but I've said before in the video that an editor is expensive, so I can't afford to have them all go to the editor. Not right now. I don't know when. I'm not working right now. But I have enjoyed the process. So writing has been very enjoyable for me because it's like reading. But like I said, again, slowly. But it doesn't bother me that it's a slow reading. It's a slow reading process. I am really enjoying, and I'm kind of surprised by my imagination, actually. I've always considered myself a non-creative person. And I always think I'm just very linear thinking, and I am linear thinking. But obviously all the stuff I've read and watched and know about the world, things I've experienced and things that other people have told me they've experienced in movies and videos and books, I've got quite a few ideas. So it's kind of fun. I kind of feel like, though, that it's very cliche. I garden now. So I garden, and now I write books. Just waiting to start bird watching when I can officially be an old person. But nothing against you bird watchers. I suppose if people are younger. It just seems like I'm just getting all the stuff, though. Getting all the things as I'm getting older. But it's been a very enjoyable process. And if you are struggling to write the book you want to read. That's what you should do. Don't write the huge epic, the huge historical novel of all the world and you're going to get the Pulitzer Prize. No, write what you want to read. And maybe it will be the epic. Maybe it will be this huge thing that the Pulitzer Prize wins. But the truth is, write what you want to read because you will enjoy the process and you will write faster because of that. If you're trying to write a book that'll sell off the shelves, you're probably not going to write it because that's too much pressure. Write a book that you're hoping maybe your sister or brother reads, or your husband or wife. And my sister has read all of them, and she's not a romance reader. And she's like, I've enjoyed them. I don't want to, she's like, I put them down to get stuff done, but she goes, I continued reading. She goes, and I put books down all the time and never pick them up again. Now she is my sister, and you're probably saying she's just, doesn't want to hurt my feelings, which is true, but she's never worried about hurting my feelings in the past. So I don't think she's worried about hurting my feelings. But I have enjoyed it, and if anyone out there is writing and struggling, it's normal. But just know, write what you want to read because that will be the most enjoyable experience for you. And why would you write something you didn't want to read? Because you don't know your audience then. If you like to read it, you know who your audience is. But I'm excited. I'm going to work on, I'm going to do some videos on querying agents and the process that you have to go through before you can even start that. And editing, how I went through my editing process. And it's not just me, because I could read the book 1,000 times and still not pick up mistakes. So I'll tell you how I picked up majority of my mistakes, especially after the editors had it, after it's gone through Grammarly. There's some other tricks you can do that will help you pick up any mistakes, that there might be an S missing, or the word might be it's without an apostrophe, and for some reason it get caught on all the grammar programs. So there's a lot of things that I notice when I'm doing the process that I'm like, that should have got caught on the Grammarly, but it didn't, because I have the Pro, but it didn't get caught. So, but stay tuned. I'm going to make videos about writing. And if you have any comments, questions, I'd love to hear them. Thanks so much for stopping by today.